It's actually with critical thinking, you're analyzing, the emotions. Why are people even coming to work late like we did in the last class? You're able to crack the box. So it takes more than just the basic, allow people to clock in, make sure that people wear corporate. It takes critical thinking of how you want to manage your people. How do you want to deal with the fact that right now attention span is as low as 8 minutes? People cannot concentrate for more than 8 minutes. If you're able to equip yourself with critical thinking, it will be very good. And there's no magic to it. You can never be an expert in critical thinking. The moment you become an expert in critical thinking, just know that you're no longer thinking critically. Do you understand? Because what critical thinking makes you do is that when you think your brain is like this, it tells you like, no, your brain should not be, it tells you that, so your idea is that people should pass this road, right? So you feel like, because I created a solution to the road problem, I built a very long road. Critical thinking tells you that the fact that you did, like for example for your NGO, the fact that you were able to talk to people's parents, right, in order to get their children out of school. That was a strategy that you used in this community. Critical thinking tells you that in the next community, your pathway may not be talking to people's parents. So for you to claim that you're a critical thinking expert is that you give your brain enough room to not just be like this. You allow your brain to go diverse way. You want to do the same thing, right? And that's why research is key. You want to do the same thing. You want to take the same course. If I want to take this course again, I have to go back online to research again. Because what new thing? Your brain is supposed to be an elastic. So a critical thinking professional is one which allows their brain to be elastic. And that's what we want in the development space. And that's the issue we're having in international relations today. The US is of the opinion that democracy is what works. Democracy does not work. Your idea is that when people are having issues in their country, they're having economic issue, they should liberalize, they should do free trade. No, that's not true. It can be something else. It could be an educational issue. As a critical thinking specialist, you must be able to distinguish between fact and opinion. So what is critical thinking? It's a mental cognitive process. It consists of a number of skills and dispositions. So that's why I was saying that sometimes you have to be emotionally intelligent. This nation is going through this community is going through that. What approach are we going to use for this? It doesn't have to be the same approach that we use for this other community. That true, purposeful, and self-regulating reflective judgment, you think about the decision that you've made again, increases the chances of producing a logical solution to a problem. Like where I work currently, apart from Mona, we always have to do plans. We discovered that the more we study, like we do plans for the government ministries and people in the government, the more we study, the more we find out, this thing is wrong. This thing is wrong. This is something that we would have done differently. So it's a logical solution to a problem or a valid conclusion to an argument. Critical thinking, because when you anytime that we hear critical thinking, people say, you're too critical. I don't know if you will hear that, you're such a critical person. And then you start feeling bad that, no, critical thinking is not being negative. And then some people, whenever they hear that you're too critical, they think, you don't have emotions. That you're not thinking, you're not putting yourself in other people's shoes. That's not true. You're just trying to evaluate, knowing your option, considering what is not, in order before you can make a valid conclusion. So how do we do this? Consider your brain like an onion. So all of us, our minds is like an onion. We have to keep unwrapping. Why? Critical thinking professionals, they're skeptical. No, we don't. You can't just accept it as the norm. You can't say that this is it, and people should not make you say, media should not make you say that this is it until you have evaluated your facts. And then, like I said, we are not without emotions. Do you understand? So sometimes it's okay for you to put in some emotions, into what you're doing. It's very important. Are dogs really people's best friend? You know the idea that, it's better for you to be closer to a dog than for you to be closer to... Is that really true? So there's a new thing that's about to come out, how that people want rats to be used as pets more than dogs. So we had this brainstorm session because it was supposed to be like a creative. A creative is like a graphic to communicate how that rats are better as pets than dogs. And when I was in the strategy meeting, I told them that, why would you even want to do that? Because I don't like rats. Take everything, but don't give me rats at all. So I was like, rats are so tiny, they are this. And then people that were doing this campaign, they have reasons, they did their scientific research, how that rats actually are more healthy to be around with, yes, than even dogs. So what they did was Shona, for you, you're not supposed to be in this thing because we're concerned about people that even have pets. You don't even like any animal, so you're not our target audience. So we're not trying to make people that don't like animals at all. So there is traffic in Lagos. It's really terrible. Can we mention the things that traffic is causing? What does this traffic cause?
Man hours.
Huh?
It steals man hours.
Okay. Lateness. Stealing on call.
Yeah.
Yes. Stress.
What about on our body? Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys are supposed to be experts. So why is there traffic? Remember, the idea is that whenever there is an issue, we go down, we keep going down, keep asking why. So why is there traffic? Bad roads. What else? Is that the reason why there is traffic now? Bad roads. Why is there bad roads?
There is we have indiscipline of drivers.
Yes.
Why?
Well organized when it comes.
They are not patient.
How does that cost?
Look.
Is that wait? I want to be clear.
I have a
So now this is it. You guys, this is how we should think. When you're given a problem, you put your problem like this. This is the problem one, right? So what is the reason for this? Is bad roads. If there's another reason for traffic, what you do is that you calm down.
There's another reason.
If there's another reason for traffic, you calm down. Because when you say indiscipline and then you put it here, does indiscipline lead to bad roads?
No.
Because it's something that you have, it's a discipline that you must keep having. So it's bad road leads to traffic. Yes. What else leads to traffic?
Indiscipline of drivers.
So they're not patient. Okay. Meaning not patient. What else? Traffic. Construction. What else?
Flood, I guess.
Flood in some areas. So the idea is that if you find yourself, for example, they make you like the chairman of something, you have to understand this, right? So flood, you can't generalize flood, because if you don't do this, when you come to meet me as the chairman and you tell me that you're building a road because of flood, you're giving me a reason that does not relate to me. So you have to always communicate with people with what they can relate with. Do you understand? What else? Is this all? So let's not go far. So one problem has given birth to sub-problems. So why is there bad road? Poor road management. Why is there poor road management?
Heavy duty trucks plying
Poor road.
Are not meant.
Your idea is that when we're solving problems, when we're thinking critically, we think about the different things and how it affects different people, right? And how we can create solutions that meet those people's needs. So for people with flood, how do we want to treat this? Sometimes they are man-made. So is there a way we can have an early detection equipment whereby we will notify before it happens and evacuate people from that area? Can we do that? Can people build better? Because sometimes, like what we have in Aja, poor planning of the roads, like people cannot tell me that obviously it's floods there, it's bound to happen. So what kind of houses are we building in order to withstand? Or should people even be living around there? For accidents, is there a way we can reduce this, that when accidents occur, for example, do we have emergency centers around the roads now that the construction is going on? Stealing, do we have more last man and more policemen on the road to monitor things? Did they put that in place? No. Lateness, did they communicate to people that your staff will be late to work? Give them a grace of 1 month so that they can adapt. There will be these issues. Did they do that? Because they have the right to do that. No. Such that you have your local government or someone to run to that if your employer sacks you or reducts money from you during this period of the construction of the road, you have the right to sue that person. Because did they do that? No. Stress. Do we put anything in place in the local government to check people up on Saturday in the morning of how they are dealing with the stress? Or even like making mandatory to the people you're working with that because of the stress, from 9 o'clock, the first 10 minutes when someone comes into the organization, the person must relax. Go to a room to rest or give the person tea or something. So what I want to bring to you is that in the world today we're having issues. We fail to have people lack the discipline. Because this is not something that you do in a hurry. We couldn't have come up with this if we were joking. So for you to make anything successful in your career, in like your NGO, look at where you're going to. You want something very successful. You're coming from problems. You're trying to create a good solution. Know that when you're creating those solutions, there will be other problems that will arise. And find ways to deal with them. Because right now, not only are we dealing with all of this, we're also dealing with new problems. We came from problems that led to this. This problem is coming because of a good thing, in quotes, but all these new problems, it means that when this is done, these problems will still be there. And because you've not dealt with all of this, after a while, bad roads will still come. So what the country needs is people like you and I that are well-rounded. If I was to take you to the US, this might not be the case. Because you have to analyze the reasons that has gotten to this and that. Do you understand? So be careful when you're trying to create a solution, when you're trying to think critically, that what you must have, your problem analysis, when you create a solution, on your way to implementing those solutions, new problems may arise. So your job is not to ignore it, but to find ways to deal with them. So you have to unpackage a person's belief and analysis. People will not always tell you the basis of their belief. Be careful. They won't tell you that this is why I think this way. They won't tell you initially. You also have to ask people why they believe what they believe. And you won't say, why do you believe what you believe? You ask in a stylish way, like, why? That's the right question. But whenever they do, provide an explanation. You can unpack analysis and basis on their beliefs. So this is how we do it. So you ask them a question. That is like you trying to analyze it. Then you evaluate. When you evaluate, you now interfere. That's what we did. We analyze why are they concerned about lives? Why are they not concerned about life? Why do police even need a police report? Do you understand? We now start evaluating. Oh, this is this for this. Maybe what if the police clinics are functioning properly? Could things have been done differently? We now say that, okay, our own interference is that we want to actually create a toll-free number, number one. What else did we say?
Police must be assigned.
Hospital.
Then hospitals can be built in police stations.
Okay. And then police people will have to pay for this. Thing is to analyze, evaluate which is what, then interfere. You cannot interfere, no matter how much of a problem solver you're in. Never interfere without evaluating and analyzing. When I mean evaluate and analyze, I don't mean for 20 days. It's that thing that happens within that moment, like, oh, why is this, why is that, in your mind, before you now interfere. This is a very exciting thing. It's like, it's becoming more and more popular, especially when you're into business. And then we just thought that apart from just the international space, since this is something that is new and a lot of people are getting into it, it's important that we let people know about it at Critical Thinking. So before, they call it the outside in approach. So you are outside as an expert. What we're into now is the inside out. And it's so real, even in your business. So the idea is that US, you mean well for us, but don't come from the outside in, come from the inside out. Go in first, find out what we want, listen to the pain points before recommending your solutions. In business, we used to have consultants, we used to have marketers, they come and tell you, buy this product. No business can run that way in this century. The idea is that every business has a pain point. There is something that, whoever you want to see, your prospective customer, right? There is something that they want. That once you know that thing that they want, you can now sell your idea that way. So that is what we call the inside out. So it's a pain point matrix. For example, the international organization that you're looking forward to getting funding from, there is something that they want. It's not like they don't have money, but maybe they have been giving out money and they've not been getting enough results, or maybe with the funds that they've been getting, there are some organizations that they have funds and they just kept the funds because they've not found the right organization to give those funds to, because over time the organization that they've been giving those funds to are not using it properly or they're not communicating. So you need to know the pain point of every organization. As a government, you need to know the pain point of your citizens. When you know the pain point in traffic is that people are stressed, they steal things on the road. Until you know this, you can't successfully create a solution. And this is a pain point matrix that we can use within an organization setting. So before, the idea is that it's not that people don't want to give money. The idea is that you don't know where it is hurting the person. So because you don't know where it is hurting the person cannot release money because you don't have a solution to their problem. The only way you can know a person's pain point is by analyzing. And that's why we have what we call the design thinking session, where you're able to sit side by side with someone, right? For example, if you come and meet me now, if you analyze everything that happened well today, if you come and meet me now and then you tell me that, there's this place in Antonio. When I spoke today, the first thing I even told you guys, I said hello to everybody, and then the next thing was, what did I talk about this space? How that they're having some internal issue. If you listened well, and then you have a business idea, and then you come and meet me and say, there's one place around Antonio, they have very good this. Do you think I would consider it twice. Because I told you already that we had issues with our venue. So in my mind, if you are listening, I'm already thinking, is there a better space? I don't want this. I'm trying to say that this is not the standard, and I'm not comfortable with this. So if you listen to my pain points within that moment, and you have a venue, you will get your money from me. Do you understand? Because you've gotten that thing that hurts me. And that is where it is more of like process. For that, I think it's more of a process. But imagine if I came and I was like, this place is so expensive, it is super expensive, and look at the way they are serving us. Then you will know that this lady's issue is what? A financial. If I come and then I'm like, I think that one is more of you like a support. The first one is a support. For example, if it took us like 5 hours to get in here, right? To get, maybe for example, it was not clean. More of a productivity. Finish cleaning. We now had to wait for 1 hour before it dried, and then someone else now comes on and we're like, this woman has an issue with productivity. Or maybe imagine if you came and then I'm talking about the slide. My slides are not ready. And the venue is set. You'll be like, no, this is more than just a support. There's a productivity, or maybe that's even more of a process problem, because it was a process that led to where we are. That means I didn't follow through a process. Do you understand? So the idea is that whenever you're able to find out people's pain points, you're able to get what you want from them. If you're talking to someone and then the person said that I've been staying in this house, the landlord keeps giving me issue. The problem with this house is that people, they're always area boys on the road. You know that, this person, the pain point of that person, the person does not want area boys around that place. So it's pain point. And you can only get pain points from the inside out approach. You can't fully understand what health means to people in Boko Haram, in the Boko Haram region, without going there first or without analyzing the issue there. So, for example, you can't just tell them that, create hospitals in Borno. What kind of hospital? What is the main need? What kind of hospital are we creating? For example, in some communities that they're having like a lot of high mortality rate of children. We don't need those normal kind of hospitals. We need hospitals that are children friendly. What kind of doctors are we sending in there? You can only know that when you understand the pain point of that area. The government is there. Why is the government constructing roads at this time? Like, why is there traffic, like what we said before? What is the pain point of the citizens at that particular time? Is there a way we can meet the pain point? Because sometimes when we're creating solutions, there are pain points. Is there a way we can address those pain points? These things are important. And in your communities, these things are also important.